Because of the Taiwanese Southern Min and because of the large population who speak Taiwanese Southern Min, and because of this mainlander who only came to Taiwan up to 1939 or 1945. In the beginning, there's a lot of lingua franca because people have to make each other understood, right? But even though you speak the language, your pronunciation may not be so good. So there's a lot of Taiwanese Southern Min pronunciation and syntax that would influence the Mandarin, the so-called standard Mandarin. So over here we just highlight, or we just try to show you some of the influences. For example, in the consonant parts, because the Taiwanese Southern Min, we don't have the retroflex, 知吃诗. So when you have to say something in Mandarin like 吃, you have to use the retroflex. And a lot of Taiwanese speakers, when they learn Mandarin, they have a hard time using the retroflex. So you're going to hear 吃 instead of 吃. Okay? So this is one kind of influence. So all these are similar. So instead of saying 照顾, this is 知吃诗, 照顾知, and people just say 照顾 without the retroflex. 马上, okay, 上, that's also a retroflex. People just say 马上. 然后, actually, 然后 this is a what? R is a liquid sound, like an English read, right? 然后, then people would just say 然后, 然后, replace it with a Z. 父母, because in Taiwanese Southern Min we don't have labial dental, I'm sorry. Labial dental, that means your upper teeth with your lower lips. So they would just replace it with 父母, instead of biting on your lips and say 父母. That's a standard Mandarin. Or 大陆, again we have another liquid, and usually they just 大陆, not very standard. Okay, this is also taken from a reading by Kubler. Okay, by Kubler. So in terms of consonant, we have some of the replacements are given here. How about the vowels? Or the vowels. For example, 运气, because this 运, the yu, is a rounded back vowel. And sometimes the rounded back vowel is replaced by 运, I don't know how to say, 运气. At one point, Taiwan Mandarin has become very popular in Taiwan. You see a lot of TV shows. They try to make fun of the pronunciation by using Taiwan Mandarin. But at that time, they try to, they also have social judgment when they are imitating the Taiwan Mandarin. They are giving it a very vulgar kind of status if a person is speaking Taiwan Mandarin. Okay? And 自从, some people say 自从, okay? This is true. This is not just my imagination. 很, instead of saying 很, and people say, oh, 她很美. Okay, something like that. 可能, they say 可能, okay? 说, no retroflex. 说, 你说什么?楼, 二楼, you say 二楼. Okay? So you have all these replacement of vowels, which is influenced by the Taiwanese Southern Min. And for the tone, we also see changes. The third tone in Mandarin is when you say Taiwan Mandarin, sometimes the third tone does not have the rise. So supposedly you should say 喜欢, and people probably just say 喜欢 if you say in casual speech. Probably the third tone would just say 喜欢. I don't know. When I say carelessly, probably I would do the same. 开始. Actually, it's the third tone, but people just say 开始. Okay, you can listen to friends around you to see if this is true. Also, there might be the neutral tone, 先生. Probably there's nothing of this in Taiwanese. And for the syntax, the influence could be even greater. mainly you have this 有没有 kind of thing. In English, if you want to say, did you see him? Mandarin, you should say, 你看见他了没有？你看见他了没有？ That's the Mandarin way. Or if you go to Mainland China, 普通话 you're supposed to say 你看见他了没有？ But in Taiwanese Mandarin, sometimes say 你有没有看见他？你有没有看见他？ Okay, and this 有没有看见他 is influenced by the Taiwanese syntax, because in Taiwanese you say 你有看见伊无？你有看见伊无？有 is 有，看见伊。So they just use 有没有 to ask yes no question. And 有没有 is also used as an auxiliary. For example, you want to say, is your watch accurate? You are supposed to say, 你的表准不准 ？A not A 准不准 ？And the Taiwanese Mandarin say, 你的表有没有准 ？Okay, 有没有准 ？Some people are laughing. Is that true? For those of you who have experienced two kinds of culture, two countries, maybe you have a chance to share your idea with your friend, because I asked Chester to list this as a question during your discussions. And 有没有 is also used as a potential compliment. So if you want to say, I couldn't find any of those 3 books, in Mandarin you say, 那3本书我都找不到。我都找不到 And in Taiwanese Mandarin say 那3本书我都找没有 So they would just use 没有 instead of the regular way of say 找不到 Okay, and then you have the final use of 没 and 不 If you want to say did he come, and the Mandarin is supposed to say 他来了没有 But Taiwanese Mandarin says 他来了没If you want to say her husband is a doctor, isn't he? Then the Mandarin say 他先生是大夫，他先生是大夫，是不是？是不是？ But in Taiwanese Mandarin, probably just say 他先生是医生，是不 ？Okay, I'm not too sure about this, but this was mentioned in the reading. Also, in the syntax, we have an increased use of 会 and 不会 in Taiwan Mandarin. If you want to say the book is not expensive, the Mandarin would say 这本书不贵，这本书不贵。But in Taiwanese Mandarin, 这本书不会贵。Okay? Think for yourself. You know, in a little while, I'll ask Chester to repeat these slides for you, so that you can be reminded of what you want to talk about. Also, we use a lot of 来去 and 来去. If you want to say, where do you want to go? And Mandarin you say, 你要到哪儿去？你要到哪儿去？ But Thai Mandarin 说，你要去哪里？你要去哪里？ Okay? Or another example, I'm going to see a friend. Mandarin say, 我要去看一个朋友。Taiwanese Mandarin say, 我要来去看一个朋友。Because in Taiwanese, you will say, 我要来去看一个朋友。So you have 来去 here instead of just 去。Okay, so you have that influence there. And then the use of 给 is very typical, because if you want to say he helped me a bit, he helped me a bit. Mandarin should say 他帮了我一个忙，他帮了我一个忙。But Taiwanese Mandarin, 他给我帮忙一下。So when we were in grade school, our teacher always joke with us, say, if you were hit, you should say 他打我 ，don't say 他给我打。他给我打 means you hit him, not he hit you. Okay, so 给 is very confusion. Could be a confusion. And also in Taiwanese Southern Min, we like to use 用 with nominalized verb. So say come on, run. Mandarin say 快跑 Okay, 快 means quickly 跑 And Taiwanese say 快用跑的 Then you say 用 instead of just 跑 Okay, 用跑的 But that's really not 普通话 will be saying. And then you delete the second syllable of a bisyllabic verb. Will he fix it? 他修理不修理 But in Taiwanese say 他修不修理 Okay, so this is also a contrast with the Mandarin. Or the use of 一下请你来 Okay, could you come here for a second? Mandarin will just say 请你来 and Taiwanese say 请你来一下 Okay, we like to use 一下very often. And the use of 样子 Okay, 样子 the look. His sister is about 17 also. 他妹妹差不多17岁 And Taiwan Mandarin, let's say, 他妹妹有17岁的样子 The look of a 17. Okay, so all these are just for you to compare. Maybe, since this article is written at least a few years ago, maybe over 10 years ago. So what he said nowadays may not seem so striking to you anymore. What does it mean? Because the world has become more globalized. Maybe we have become more and more similar. Because when I was in mainland China several years ago, 2006, I think they know everything about Taiwan. They know Taiwan 国语 and they want to imitate Taiwan 国语. They think it's a very cute alternative to speak Mandarin. Okay?
But some of the Taiwanese Mandarin that you mentioned was in my Mandarin.
They use it.
Yeah, but it's from mainland China.
So they also adapt.
Yeah,
all
like
this.
the Isha or
Isha.
if you have double two syllables,
Mhm.
you repeat only.
没修不修理 Yeah, okay. So I think it's becoming more and more similar to each other. Okay. Lastly, 而已 I don't think this is that typical. I have only one friend. 我就有一个朋友 This is what my mother-in-law would say. Okay, 我就有一个朋友 But in Taiwan Mandarin, 我只有一个朋友而已 only. Okay. Okay, for lexicon, this is even more obvious because in lexicon, instead of saying 自行车 in Taiwan, we will say 脚踏车 as well. For bicycle. For merchant, 商人 in Taiwan, we will say 生意人. To cook, in Mandarin, you say 做饭. In Taiwan, you say 煮菜. 煮菜. Okay, and this classifier I just skip. Okay, in Mandarin, a lot of people for a tag question you would just say 不是吗? 不是吗? Isn't that the case? 不是吗? In Taiwanese, you just say 吼 吼 Okay, in Taiwan, yeah, you just a lot of time you say 吼. Did I have the right tone? 你是这样的吼，你是这样的吼，你是这样是不是？你是这样的吼 ，OK， yeah， OK， 吼，对，吼 is very useful in Taiwan Mandarin. For example, if you hear something and you don't understand, you say huh, huh, okay, 那吼 you say huh, and I remember when I was in college. We had to take English conversation, and our English was poor. So the teacher said a lot of things we didn't understand. So the teacher would call the name and say, "Oh, you answer this question." And the teacher threw up a question, and I said, "Ho." And the teacher said, "Never say ho. Say I beg your pardon." I say, I always remember that.